let me introduce myself, and then we're going to dig into this self-assessment. I'm Kathy Mazak. I'm a tenured full professor. My research area, in case anybody's interested, is in language in Puerto Rico. Specifically, I look at translanguaging and using Spanish and English together in Puerto Rico, especially in educational contexts. But for the last few years, I've been really focusing on teaching other academic women and coaching them how to get their writing and publication done. And one of the reasons that I've been doing that is that having gone through my own tenure journey and being a mom of three, and when I say mom of three, I had one the first year on the tenure track, and she's the one who taught me everything. And then I had the second one. I was still pre-tenure when I had him. And then this last one, I think I was even already full because it was like a 6-year gap between the last two. Hello, Sarah from Boston, and Laura in South Dakota. All right. So all of those children made me have to really do my academic day in the time that my kids were at daycare. My kids were horrible sleepers. And so that idea of like, I'm going to wake up early or I'm going to stay up late to do my writing never worked for me, not weekends either. So I really learned how to organize myself and how to do what I needed to do to get my writing and publication done during my working hours. And I realized that not many people knew how to do this, and that I could help other academic women by teaching them what I learned in my own journey. So that's how I came to be talking to you today. We have about 200 people registered for this webinar. And so I'm so glad all of you could join me today. Hello, hi Tanzina in New York in her second year. Great. Okay, so what we're gonna do today is called a pre-tenure self-assessment. So I've been working as an academic writing coach for about 4 years. And as I've been kind of going through that process and working with more and more women, I developed a framework for going up for tenure with confidence. It's called the Amplify framework because the idea of Amplify is that that's what you're doing, that process from your first day on the tenure track to when you're tenured is a process of amplification, right? It's a process of getting bigger, of growth, of getting louder. But also, I live in Puerto Rico, my family's bilingual, and so the word amplify has this cognate in Spanish, which is amplio, and that word means spacious and comfortable. And so that amplify word is hooked in my mind also to spaciousness and comfort, because we don't want to keep plugging away. All systems go towards tenure and then burn out either before you get there or right after. And I have seen this so many times. So this Amplify framework is really all about what are the levers that you need to pull in order to get your writing and publication done, feel good about yourself and your career, and reduce the amount of stress, reduce the number of hours that you're working by working smarter and better and more in line with what you really want to do. So we're going to hold up what you're doing right now against this Amplify framework. And so by the end of that self-assessment, you're going to be able to see like, okay, what are of these 9 areas, what are the ones that I really need to work on? So I asked you to bring to this call 3 colors of marker. So it's red, yellow, green. You can use markers, you can use crayons, you can use the letters for the colors. If you only have a pencil, that's fine. So you can go ahead and get out your pencils or your markers because we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. I also sent you a handout. And it is the handout of this thing right here. So, so it's the handout of this Amplify framework. There we go. Okay, it's the handout of the Amplify framework. And if you didn't have a chance to print it, it's totally fine. Just draw bubbles and you can draw it yourself and mark it up as we go. All right. So first, I'm just going to walk you through the inner parts of the framework, and then we're going to go through each of the 9 spokes, and I'm going to ask you questions, and you're going to rate your kind of your preparedness in this area with a red, yellow, or green, and I'll tell you what each one of those means, you know, as we go through. So let's get started. So of course we have amplify right here in the middle. And then we have 3 main areas that we need to work on if we're going to go up for tenure with confidence. And the first area is clarify. Okay, so what clarify relates to is really clarifying your purpose as an academic, the parts of, you know, what your research purpose is, how you're going to enact that purpose, what is the impact you want to have on the world, and getting very, very focused and having clarity around what you're doing, who you're doing it for, the tools you use to do it. Okay, so that's clarify. Demystify is the learning process. It's, you know, I just always think it's so ridiculous that we get a PhD, right? And during this process of getting a PhD, you know, you can let me know in the chat if your advisor ever talked to you about how to get your writing done. As a professor, not as a PhD student, but did she ever show you her process for getting her writing done? Did she ever show you her process for managing committee meetings, and new preps and all of that? I had great advisors, but they didn't ever show me that, and I didn't know to look. All I knew is that when I got onto the tenure track, I was like, what the heck am I supposed to be doing, right? What is what is this about? This is nothing that, like, the tenure track had nothing to do with what I was taught in my PhD program. Like, besides my research area, it didn't help me to actually be prepared to do the day-to-day work at all. So that's what the demystifying is about. Yeah, I think this is Samantha. Hold on, I can't see your whole name. Somebody said, or Sarah, no, sorry, I just lost the chat. There we go. Said, no, haha, no, he never showed me any of that. Tanzina says, my advisor basically didn't show me the process of getting a PhD. I'm sorry, Tanzina, and good for you that you did it anyway. No, she modeled writing for me, but I didn't know her process or those of other mentors. And I had to force my way out. Yes, I mean, my husband had a very, very similar experience. He had to force his way out of his PhD too. They didn't want to let him out of the lab because he was the one who knew how to do all the lab things. So yeah, it's not, the PhD process is not a professional development process. The process of getting a PhD is a scholarly growth process, but it's not training on how to do the tenure track job. The training we get on how to do a tenure track job is baptism by fire, right? It's here you go, figure it out. So the demystify part of this framework is like, okay, well, there's things that you could be doing, and if we talk to each other about them, then maybe we would all be a little bit more successful. So we'll dig into that in a second. And then the final part is multiply. All right, so clarify, demystify, and multiply. Multiply refers to you multiplying yourself, so figuring out systems and processes so that you aren't reinventing the wheel all the time, but you're kind of multiplying out those systems and processes that make everything faster. But also it refers to how are we gonna like really be those mentors that aren't like the ones that we had, right? Let's be the mentors who demystify the process. Let's be the mentors who, you know, help our students clarify, help them, you know, with the things that to understand and to learn, like the job itself, right? But to do that without also burning ourselves out or working ourselves too much, overworking, you know, like obviously everybody here works hard. It's not about not working hard. It's about not overworking to the point, because overworking is unsustainable and you will burn out. And multiplying as well has to do with like, how can we multiply the things that we learn and the way that we're doing academia into bigger communities. Because in the end of the day, what I really want is to change the culture of academia. I want to move away from a culture of overwork that assumes you have a full-time person at home doing all of the caregiving activities and all of the household activities. Those systems, you know, the academia was created for men, and we need women to be part of it. And that means we need to change it. It doesn't mean that we need to learn how to be men. It means that we need to change the way that academia is by finding our way of doing it, our way to do it on our terms, and then have great results too, because we know that women do things differently perhaps, and that is great. Like, there's more than one path to scholarly success. So since this is a little Venn diagram, these things overlap. And so when you have clarity and you have demystified processes, you will save a lot of time. And when you are very clear about what you're doing and you know how to multiply out your impact, you will publish more. And when you have demystified processes and can multiply out your impact, we will change academic culture, which is the big goal. All right, get your markers ready, because we're going to start over here with map your mission. So in this clarify part, we have 3 spokes here. And the first one is map your mission. Map your mission refers to having an academic mission statement. So if you have an academic mission statement, then you can give yourself green, but wait, there's another part. So it's an academic mission statement and a milestone map. And a milestone map is a list of the milestones that you want for yourself in academia. So what I want to start to do is to show you and that you are in control of your relationship to academia. You don't have to accept the pre-prescribed milestones, right? So those milestones are, you get the PhD, you get the postdoc, you get the tenure track job, you get tenure, maybe you get full if you have the energy, right? All of this focus on tenure is harmful because what happens is we focus on that, and we're just like busting our butts to get tenure. And then you get tenure, and many people go through a process of feeling like lost and disoriented, or just so burnt out that they never go up for full. And that process of going up for full is a process of really taking your work to the next level. And so if everybody gets here, and then we don't go for here, then our work is going to stay at a level that we're going to have less impact on people. So instead, what we want to do is break away from this idea that tenure is everything and create a list of what are your milestones. So for example, if you're somebody who does public scholarship, then you would have milestones on your milestone map related to public scholarship. Or if you do clinical work, you need to start thinking of what you want to create, how you want to create and shape your career in spite of your institution. So if you have a mission statement and a milestone map already created, then you can give yourself a green. You can just color over this map your mission with green. If you maybe just have a mission statement, but you've never heard of a milestone map before, or you have a milestone map in your head, but not on paper, then you can give yourself a yellow. And if you don't have either of these things, then go ahead and color that one red. Okay, so that's our first one. The next step here, and we're going to go around this way, the next step here is aligning your activities. And this is a process of looking at absolutely all the things that you do. So everything from advising PhD students, or creating new courses for a master's program, going to committee meetings, teaching your classes, creating new materials and lectures for your classes, all of the things. That's why I say activities, because it kind of can encompass lots of different things. also your writing, also presenting, and all of those things. So align your activities is that you've listed all of those things out, and you've made sure that all of them support your mission statement or your milestone map. So you could call this kind of like an activities audit, right? Where you look at everything you do and you make sure that that everything is supporting your academic mission statement and your milestone map. Now, a lot of times people describe their feelings about academia and their pre-tenure life as being pulled in a lot of directions. So what this is about is making sure that everything that you do feels like it's about one thing, and that one thing is your academic mission statement. So if you have done that, then go ahead and give yourself a green. Actually, if you've taken my Academic Women's Writing Roadmap course, you've done that before. You can give yourself a green. I will say though, let me do a caveat. If you've done it in the last 6 months, then you can give yourself a green. If you've done it before, but it's been a long time, so there's been activities creep, then you can give yourself a yellow. And if you've never heard of this process before, then give yourself a red. All right, and then this last part of the clarify thing is strategizing your pipeline. Now, you'll notice here that pipeline is on this framework twice. It's there as strategizing and it's there as managing. The difference is that strategy is about like, okay, where do you want to be? Like where do you want your work to be? Who do you want to be sitting next to in the metaphorical room? Who do you want to be in the room with? So identifying key journals, what they are, where you have to place yourself and your work in order to have the kind of impact that you've outlined in your milestone map or in your mission statement. So you have a real strategy for pipeline. You're not just publishing anything that comes along. Okay, so you're not saying yes to everything. You're only saying yes to authoring opportunities that support your mission statement. That's a big mistake that pre-tenure people make. They think that the most important thing is numbers, when actually if you have too many things in your pipeline, it gets clogged up and not enough things come out the other end. So if you have a pipeline strategy where you have a system for judging whether you're going to say yes to projects, you're not just taking on anything, you have identified your target journals or if you're in a book field, your target publishing houses, and you feel like you have an actual strategy, an articulated strategy for your pipeline, you can give yourself a green. If you have some of those things, but not all of them, or they're in your head, but you haven't actually, written them down, then you can give yourself a yellow. And if you haven't thought about pipeline strategy at all, and your strategy has just been publish everything and anything, give yourself a red. So let me check in and let me know here in the clarify part, what is the dominant color for you? Are we yellow? Are we green? Are we red? We orange? What's the dominant color so far? Michelle says yellow. Kimberly says yellow. Samantha says red. Peanut says red. Yellow and red. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yellow. Right. Melissa's thought about it, but hasn't made it explicit. Sonia says yellow. Lisa says yellow. Okay. So, so far you can see, this is your task list. So this is your, it's not a task list. This is your action plan. Okay. So if things are red and yellow, then these are areas that you need to take some time to work on. Now let's do demystify. Okay. So the first part of demystify is writing systems, so that you are sure that you have a writing system. Now, let me tell you what I mean by writing system. It does not mean that you have to write every day. All it means is that you have a regular plan for writing, that your writing is in your calendar. Again, it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be big blocks of time, but that you have some kind of consistent, regular plan that you do over and over again, right? That's what a system is, that you have a plan that you repeat. So every week, when you're going to be doing your writing. So give yourself a green if that's true. Give yourself a yellow if you have a plan, but you don't stick to it. And give yourself a red if you're writing in times that are like catch as catch can, right? That you're just like, you're writing when you get the time, but that time probably never comes. So that's a red. All right. And the second part of demystify, one of the big things that I think we do not talk about enough, and it's a very powerful thing to think about. I try to talk about it on my podcast a lot because I think it's so powerful, is resetting your mindset. So if you feel that you deal with imposter syndrome or other kinds of mindset issues that are holding you back, reset your mindset refers to actually doing mindset work to replace your thinking or replace your negative thoughts that are not helping you with positive thoughts. So I'll give you a couple examples. The imposter syndrome is one. Imposter syndrome is not easily cured, but there is mindset work that you can do that can help. Especially related to your writing mindset, have you thought about the importance of writing in your work? Especially if it's something that keeps falling to the bottom of the list, you're getting closer to tenure, writing's not getting done as much as you want. That's probably because you need to do mindset work above all, because you need to have firmly in your mind what the value of your writing is and how to distribute your time and value your time in a way that gives you time to write. So if you have done mindset work explicitly, then give yourself a green. If you have not, and maybe you've, thought about imposter syndrome, read a book, something like that, then you could give yourself a yellow. And if you've never thought about it before or thought that these kind of negative thoughts that you have and the stories that you tell yourself are just something that is part of academia, and especially if you think that you are doing it wrong, you need to do some mindset work. Give yourself a red. Ruba says, thinking of mindset, I just finished a seminar with Beyond the Professor who emphasized the importance of networking in the job search. It's beginning to feel like merit has nothing to do with establishing an academic career. How much do you agree or disagree with this? Not that you're talking about. Yeah, I want to say something about that right there. So, and I just said this on my podcast and I was listening back to it because I wanted to write an email, to send everybody and say, hey, listen to this, here's what you'll learn. And one of the things that I have been hearing a lot from people is, and this is from the I have the tenure track job side, is I got this job by accident, or it's random, or it's a fluke. And here, that's really, really problematic for me. And so I have a little bit of problem with the idea that getting a job is not based on merit. Instead, what I think is that we have a flooded market of candidates, and all of them, or many, many of them, deserve a good tenure track job that supports them in their work. The problem is that people who get those jobs, when they think like, oh, I just got this, it's not based on my merit, that just so plays into imposter syndrome. Like, I got here by accident, right? So the way that, if that's what they're telling you, like, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do networking, because obviously what it's really saying is that to distinguish yourself in a field of deserving candidates, networking is helpful. Absolutely. No joke. But if you think I got this job by accident and not based on merit, that's problematic for me. Because really, because what actually is happening is that there's a lot of candidates who are great. You were a good fit, and so it's not about, that you don't have the merit to be there. Or that you only got there because of networking. No, this could be true totally, but there's so many qualified candidates. There's too many qualified candidates. just because you got a job doesn't mean the other people weren't also qualified. It just means you were the best fit. So that's my thought about that. Okay. So yay, she says, I'm finally green. I have no issue with imposter syndrome. Okay. It's not a bad thing. Extreme self-confidence is not a bad thing, but mindset work is not only just about imposter syndrome either. So you might have a green for imposter syndrome mindset work, but there's other things here that are important. I just gave the imposter syndrome as an example. Another example is believing that you have to work nights and weekends or else you're not really working hard enough. That's also a mindset issue that needs work. Okay, yes, just do confident. Yes, Ruba says, another thing that bothers me about all this talk about networking is the racist component. Absolutely, which is not being discussed. Networking also means that people who prefer you over others will hire you and their preferences involve prejudices. That's true, absolutely. And the other thing, and this can be really difficult for women of color, and this happens, there was that great article, and I'm sorry right now that I don't remember her name or the title of the article. I think it was like being a full professor while Black or something like that. I can't remember, but I think it was in the Chronicle, either the Chronicle or Inside Higher Ed. And she wrote about how, like she got a tenure track job and people were like, oh, you just got that job because you're Black. No, like this, and we can't have this. Like, this is just not okay. Not okay. Yes. And Sue needs to erase green markers. You can color over it. It's okay. All right. So yes, I agree completely, Ruba, with that. And so I think that's an interesting conversation to have, and that we need to be having, and about the role of merit in hiring. Absolutely. All right. The last one in demystify is manage your pipeline. So here's what managing your pipeline means. You really know intimately every step of your pipeline, including if you are, for example, a botanist, then you need to plant the plants. Like, that's the level of steps that I'm talking about. Like, we need to know what all the steps in the pipeline are. Some people can't do research unless they get a grant. So grant writing is a first step in the writing process. So you have all of that pipeline mapped out and you know where all your projects are in the pipeline right now. If you know that, then you get a green. If maybe you have your pipeline mapped out, but you don't have a plan for how you're going to get things out of it, and you feel kind of overwhelmed and like you have a lot of stuff stuck in there, then that's a yellow. And if you don't have your pipeline mapped anywhere, and you're just relying on your memory, that's a red. So how are we doing in the demystify category here? What color is your kind of dominant color? Yellow, green. Yay, Sonia, green. Mariana. Hi, Mariana. I know you. I don't know if you know that I know you. Okay. Green and yellow, 2 green, 1 yellow. Okay, this is good. This is good. This is good. And Trello helped. Good. Green. Great. I don't want to play. There's no, like, let me say something else. There's no, like, I'm not judging you, and none of these other women are judging you either. So no judgment. This is a self-assessment. This is like, if you don't take a look at these things and just give yourself a little hard truth, then it's not going to get better and you're going to keep feeling overworked and overwhelmed. So it's, it's all a process for everybody. And I need to expand my, hold on, I need to expand my chat here because I can't read people's names. If you have a multi-syllable name, I can't see it. Okay, Sonia says, a couple years ago, mine would have been totally red. Yeah, don't feel bad. Like, no one teaches us these things. That's why you can't judge yourself. Do not judge. Okay, so, all right, so let's move on to multiply. The multiply part. We start here with implementing systems. Now, in demystify, we, and truly, like, implementing systems could be part of demystify as well. But I like to think of it as multiplying, because I like to think of it as like, if you have a good system, you're like multiplying your time and you're multiplying yourself and the amount of things that you can do. Kimberly says, we're here because we want to improve. Yes, exactly. Yes. It comforts me to blame everything on my district. You blame, it's fine. If you have a pipeline question, let me take that question at the end. There's going to be time for questions. Don't worry. So, okay. So implementing systems. Now, this is about having an email, a system for managing email, having a system for managing your calendar, having a system for your day-to-day kind of project management. Really, it's a lot of things that I teach in the Organize Your Academic Life course. If you haven't taken that course, that's what it's really about, you know, like creating systems, project management systems, so that you are really working hard or working smart to minimize wheel spinning, repetition of work, and starting at zero. We don't want to do any of those things. We want to always have a template to start from. We want to not recreate the wheel every time we do something. So you have systems for, and this goes across everything, across email, across committee meetings, across student interactions, everything. So we can better systematize everything. And when we do that, we like multiply ourselves. You know, and the amount of things that we're able to get done. So if you have systems for your email, for your calendar, for your day-to-day, like how you schedule, how you determine your to-dos, if you have systems for all of those things, you can give yourself a green. If you have some systems but not others, or you have systems but don't use them, then you can do a yellow. And then if you have no systems, then you can give yourself a red. In the second part here in multiply, we have create community. And this is really, really important, and something that traditionally in academia, we don't talk about in the way that I want to talk about it. So we do have, you know, professional societies and different ways to create communities together, but we don't have, you know, real deep community built into academia most of the time, right? We don't have like most of us are afraid to talk to our colleagues about our pre-tenure experience, because people are afraid they're going to be judged. People are afraid they're doing it wrong. People are afraid to not look smart. And so there's a lot of barriers around creating community in academia. But what we can do is what we're already doing right here in this chat. And that is like finding the common ground that we have and supporting each other. And there's not a lot of that in academia. So if you have been able to do that on your campus or in some area of your life, then you know, of your academic work, whether that's physically on your campus, maybe with your PhD cohort, keeping in touch with them, online communities, you know, if you feel like you have a good supportive community where you can go with questions and concerns about your pre-tenure journey, then give yourself a green. If you don't really have a place and they're not that great, you can give yourself a yellow. And if you really feel isolated and alone, you can give yourself a red. And then the last one is mentoring for change. And we all really want to be great mentors. And it's so important that we, you know, have that students look to us for mentoring and guidance. But we also know that women, and especially women of color, take on way more of the mentoring work in a department than men do. Yes, Marika, great. So around mentoring for change, there's two parts. One is that you have a consistent plan for showing, like, especially if you work with grad students, but even if you work with undergrads, for working against the culture of overwork in academia. So what that looks like for undergrads is what that looks like for undergrads is that you know, admit that you have a family if you do, you know, like, or you admit that you do things for your personal self, you know, and so that they start to see what being a professor is really about. It's not being a teacher, for example, not being just a teacher. You do other things as well. And so you exist outside the classroom. and have other aspects of your career that are important. If you mentor graduate students, it's showing them these systems and telling them, helping them to see what systems are, how they can fight and kind of combat that culture of overwork in academia, and how they can manage their pipelines, showing them what this is all about, right? But also having some boundaries so that you can preserve your own self and not take on all of the work while other people are taking on none of the mentoring work. So if you feel like you have a good handle on mentoring, you have a plan, and you have a way to do it that's not burning you out, then give yourself a green. If you have, if you're doing it, but it's taking up more time than you really want it to, or you would love, or you can afford to have it take up, then give yourself a yellow. And if mentoring is running you into the ground, give yourself a red. Tanzina says, oh Lord, yes, the tiredness in the bones. It's true. It's so sad. Okay. So tell me how you're doing in the multiply. What are your colors here in the multiply area? 2 green and a yellow. That's pretty good, Michelle. Number 2, okay, a plan for working, it was about mentoring, boundaries around mentoring. And green, yay! Oh, red for Samantha. It's okay, it's fine. We're not judging. We're just saying this is just what it is. Great. Okay, cool. All yellow. All right, so this is the Amplify framework. Now, when you look at the whole thing, do you feel like you have a dominant color here that you would like to express in the chat? Like, what is the, what's the main color that you see here? We have red, we have yellow. What's your main color? So yeah, Michelle says, looks like I've got things to work on. Yeah. Yes. So now what you have, right? 5 greens and 4 yellows. That's pretty good, Sonia. What you have now is like, okay, well, these are things that I haven't thought about. So I need to start thinking about them and figuring out how, I can improve myself in these 9 areas. All right. So now I'm going to ask you the question, what would it mean for you to get tenure? So what would that mean for you? Like, what does it represent to you? But also, like, what does it mean for you personally to get tenure? You can tell me in the chat. Melissa says, a breath of relief. Oh, yes. Hi again, Melissa. Yeah, a breath of relief. Job security for life, not having to worry about ever adjuncting again, making my family proud and economically secure. To get tenure is a step closer toward making a difference in the field. Yes. Although, Sonia, like, you can make a difference in the field right now. But yes, it is definitely like you do want to get tenure. Will help leverage you into more difference in the field. You wouldn't have to uproot your family. Yes. Yes. And Samantha's acceptance. Yes. Yes. That is, I think a lot of times it does mean kind of like the seal of approval, like that they're like, you're one of us, right? Freedom to do more influential social justice work. Yes, Lisa, that's so important. All right. So, and okay, I almost said galaxy. That's your device, not your name. Sorry. Affirmation to myself that I'm adding value to the field. Yes, it's that validation, right? That you are adding value and you're on the right track. Marlene says, freedom to be more vocal and proactive in providing more opportunities for women of color in the academy. Well, we need that. So, so yes, that's great. All right. So I hope that this assessment has given you kind of things to think about, and like the next step after what I'm going to tell you next is, to really take some time and figure out what are the things I need to do in order to improve in the areas that are yellow or red for you. Sonia asked, can you speak more about aligning activities with our mission? I care about doctoral student training and sit on committees. Should this be part of my mission to help develop that next generation of researchers? Yeah, I don't think you need to. So I have in my programs I teach, and actually it's on the website. So you can go to kathymazak.com and go to the blog and Google how to write an academic mission statement, you can find it there. I have a template, but it doesn't, it's the mission statement is really about your scholarly work. So your mentoring of graduate students, as long as their work is, supports your work, it's not totally outside of what you do, then that supports your mission, because the mission is about like who you are, who you help, what methods you use, and the change you want to see in the world. So definitely mentoring graduate students who are helping to influence the field in a similar way as you would be supporting your academic mission statement. Yes. Okay. So you're welcome. All right. So I want to tell you a little bit about a professional development opportunity that teaches you and supports you through your professional development in all of the 9 spokes of the Amplify framework. And that is my program, which is called, surprise, Amplify. Okay. Amplify is a live 1-year accelerator program designed for pre-tenure women who want to feel confident with both the number and quality of publications in their tenure package, who want to learn the writing and time management skills that will lead to prolific publishing across their careers. It's for women who want to build a publication pipeline that feels good and supports their academic mission, and who want to create career-long connections with peer mentors. Amplify focuses on writing and publishing because confidence in going up for tenure comes from this solid record of publications. And like I said, like, we don't want to just publish more and do it at all costs and drive ourselves into the ground. We want to publish more because that will give us the confidence to go up for tenure, and will support our tenure case and get our message into the world, which is the most important part. So I'm going to tell you about how this program supports you in those 9 levers, helps you pull those 9 levers, and tell you the steps to join if you would like to apply. So of course you can see that I love Venn diagrams. And so there's 4 ways that the program supports you across the year, through content, community, events, and other kinds of support, which you will see in a minute. So in terms of content, we have 9 workshops, 1 on each spoke of the framework. They are pre-recorded workshops with assignments, things that we walk you through. For example, in the Align Your Activities one, we walk you through the process of, with rubrics, of doing this activities audit. And so each of the 9 spokes of the framework has a workshop that teaches you how to pull that lever, in essence, right? How to get better at that thing. In addition, we run the virtual writers retreat, which is a 2-week sprint. It's a guided writing sprint. It teaches you how to break projects into tasks, and we run that 3 times a year. The one is starting on Sunday on the 20th of October. The fall one is starting. So everyone who does this program does this virtual writing retreat together. It's a 2-week program that is meant to teach you how to do a writing sprint. So it gives you those writing sprint skills that are going to help you manage your pipeline. And then also the community of doing it together. So we do that in October, February, and July. You get the Organize Your Academic Life course as part of the content of this program. And we have a workshop library with 12 workshops about different, like, specific areas of your academic life that you can develop. For example, goal setting, how to manage co-authoring relationships, all kinds of things there. 12 excellent workshops. There's a grant writing workshop. There's lots of things to dive into when you have a specific question about some aspect of your pre-tenure work. So you get all of this content. And then the best part is the community. And what we have is twice monthly mastermind calls. And mastermind calls are a unique to academia way of doing group coaching. So I've always, like, whenever I've done group coaching, I haven't loved it because I feel like it's a lot about the coach, and I wanted it to be about the community. So I kind of stole this mastermind idea from the business world, and I'll talk about it more in a second. But basically, this program runs in cohorts. So we have small cohorts of 6, 8, or at the most 10, but usually it's between 6 and 8. And we do, those 6 or 8 people stay together as a cohort through the whole program, and they meet twice monthly for an hour. So there's 24 mastermind calls. And each week, 2 people are on the hot seat. And what that means is you get half the call to bring your problem or concern to the group. And these groups are led by writing coaches. So it's not, or led by, yes, writing coaches, academic coaches. So it's not like you don't get that professional advice. But what we have found is that the best mastermind calls are the ones where people are talking, are helping each other. And that community is really built that way because the mastermind groups are diverse in terms of where people are on the tenure track, the type of university they're at, but also racial diversity and ethnic diversity and national diversity and gender diversity and all the diversities. Because this program tends to attract diverse people, we get diverse perspectives on your problem. And that has been in, like, the incalculable, like, amazingness of this program is that happens in those mastermind calls. So it's a really different way to do group coaching. It's very impactful. So those are twice monthly mastermind calls. We have weekly co-writing sessions and opportunities to co-write together more. And we have the Mighty Networks online community. So you basically could ask a question at any time and have a writing coach, not at any time in the middle of the night while we're sleeping, no. But you basically have 24/7 access to community that helps to support you as you're implementing the content that you're learning. Oh, sorry. Mighty Networks is by the way, is like an app that I didn't want to use Facebook because I feel like Facebook is too distraction-y. So Mighty Networks is a little app just for Amplify. And then this is what I just explained about the mastermind. The result of the mastermind is deep, meaningful peer mentoring. So content community, the support we offer besides the Mighty Networks community, the workshop library, and all these things, we have weekly office hours. So that means that I do twice a month, and then my coaches do the other 2. So there's weekly office hours where you can come and get spot coaching. So if you have a question, a concern, a specific, something that's happening specifically as you're working through content, but also things that come up in your job, like maybe you want to talk about leaving your job or switching jobs or whatever, we can give you that support in our weekly office hours. And you also get 3 one-on-one coaching calls with my team. And we have a 2.5-day workshop event in Puerto Rico in January. So in January 2020, you have this event where we're going to be bringing in academic publishing experts, like we're bringing a journal editor and other experts to come and talk to us about kind of the back end of academic publishing. And then the second day, we are going to be really looking at your writing. So you're going to be able to bring writing. We're going to do small peer review groups, but in each group, we're going to also have a writing coach. So you really get eyes on your writing, and it can be whatever piece of writing you want to bring. A piece of an article or a piece of a proposal or one of your tenure documents or whatever. So that live event, and that includes food, but it doesn't include lodging or travel. And it's in San Juan, Puerto Rico, July 12th, 13th, and 14th this year. So all of this community that you're building, you also get to actually meet these people at the event. That's where I feel like we're really gonna cinch it all together. So my question for you before I go into the amazing bonus that I have for you because you came here today is, how do you want tenure prep to feel? And after we talk about how you want tenure prep to feel and I tell you the amazing bonus, I am all yours for questions. Okay, and so tell me, how do you want tenure prep to feel? Straightforward. Oh, that's good. Confident and exciting. Yes, like scholarly development. Yeah, like not like suffering or feeling run down. Yeah, deliberate. I love that. Mindful and not stressful. I love mindful and not stressful. Yes, yes, yes. Joyful, satisfying, like I'm accomplishing something, right? It shouldn't feel like hazing. It should feel like inspired, right? And like, yeah, I love Lisa, focused and forward moving. Yes, I agree. 100% with all those things. All right, that's what we are trying to do through the Amplify program. So I'm going to just tell you, to calculate the value, I'm going to relate it to something that you already know about, which is paying for graduate school. Okay, so there's 9 Amplify workshops, 12 workshops in the workshop library, 24 mastermind calls, the 2.5-day event, which is about 8 hours each day of content and instruction. Weekly office hours all year, so including holidays, it's about 48 weeks of office hours, 3 one-on-one coaching calls, the whole Organize Your Academic Life course, and the 3 times that we do the virtual writers retreat together. And so that totals up to about 152 hours of instruction, which is about actually that should say 3.37, sorry, typo. Anyway, 3.37 3-credit hour courses. If we estimate $1,500 per credit, which is what it costs at Michigan State for graduate school where I went, then we're talking about a $15,000 worth of value in terms of this program. All of my coaches have PhDs. It's not like, it is like graduate school, the stuff they should have taught you in graduate school. And this amazing part. So the amazing bonus for the first 6 people who enroll, we have 6 spaces that include this bonus, is that if you enroll in this program, you will come to our July 2020 writing retreat for free. Yep. So that means that you will be able to come to the 7-day, 6-night writing retreat in San Juan, where breakfast and lunch are included each day, 2 dinners are included in that time, and the hotel stay is included, plus all the programming of the writing retreat, where we do a one-on-one with you, and we do goals. It's a structured writing retreat, so it's not too structured, but we do goal setting in the mornings, we do writing coaching over lunch, and then you'll get one-on-one session during that time. Plus you get hours and hours in the beautiful Dreamcatcher Hotel, which is in Ocean Park, a beautiful, calm place. There's hammocks in most of the rooms. It's kind of amazing. It's right on the beach. You can walk right to the beach. And you will get that wonderful retreat included. This is the first 6 people who sign up. So that's the amazing bonus that we are offering right now. And you can apply for the program here today. So here's how you apply. I'm going to explain the application process. The application process starts by you going to bit.ly/pre-tenure. That is going to take you to a form, a very short form that gets some basic information from you, and will serve as kind of your application for the program. After you submit the form, you will be bumped to a page that asks you to schedule a 10-minute call with one of my writing coaches. And on that call, we will explain the program to you a little bit. On that call, we will do kind of rapid fire questioning to make sure you're a good fit for the program. It's a 10-minute call, so it has to move super fast. It feels like a little bit like an interrogation, but what we're doing is vetting people, because when we form these cohorts, we are crafting community, and we are putting people together in a way that we hope is going to be the most supportive and valuable for everybody. So that's why it's an application process. It's not just anybody can sign up process. So after that, at the end of the 10-minute call, if my coaches and you think the program is a good fit, then they will schedule you for a 30-minute tenure strategy session with me. And in that session, we will talk specifically about where you are on the framework and how the program can help you get all of those yellow and red parts to be green, and make tenure prep feel the way you want it to feel, which is what I am all about. So I encourage you to apply today. Go through this. Even just going through the application process is valuable. It helps give you clarity. And so if you are interested in getting the level of support that a program like this offers for a whole year, then please go ahead and apply. So now I will take my questions. Ruba, I love that you said that you want tenure prep to feel based on love for research, writing, and teaching, not based on fear. Yes, 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 yes. So ask me questions. Somebody had a pipeline question. Ask me your pipeline question. Okay, go for it. How detailed should the pipeline be? I have 4 buckets: gathering data, analyzing, writing, and editing. This is a great question. So let me tell you, I'm going to back up and then I'll answer your question. So the reason that we, let me answer the question about pipeline and then I will tell you how much it costs. So the reason that we have a pipeline detailed out is a couple of things. One is that we need to acknowledge that reading is a necessary precursor to writing. And so a lot of times we're saying the messaging, it's just a mindset thing. The messaging we're saying in our head is, oh, I never get to my writing. But what you're doing is you're doing the reading or you're doing the analyzing or whatever. And those are like parts of the process. So the idea is knowing what all the parts of the process are. I think that if 4 buckets is working for you, fantastic. If things are getting lost and clogged up, like you have so many things in the analyzing, but it's hard for you to see what's closer to the writing stage, then you might want to, expand the data, expand the analyzing into different steps. Like, I don't know what field you're in, but I'm thinking in terms of me, like in a qualitative project, in the there's like lots of steps to the analyzing part, right? Like you have to, you're coding, and then you're doing this other level of coding. And so, so you might want to like break that out a little. The reason is you need to be able to like take the pulse of your pipeline. You need to be able to look at it and go like, okay, this is what this is. And these are where projects are getting stuck. Or this is what I got. And so, hey, this is the one I really need to move forward because this one is so close, I want to get it out. Or this one isn't close enough. I need to do a sprint on it, So that's why, it's really all about what's working for you. And I'm very much what I preach inside of the Amplified program is how do you know yourself? Like you need to know yourself. Okay, cool. Okay, so in terms of the cost of the program, so remember all the things. Okay, so all of these things plus the bonus retreat for the first 6 people, it's a $10,000 investment or $1,000 a month. So again, we're not taking just anybody. We are going through a vetting process. We go through an application process because we're really trying to make this experience a career-changing experience. What we want to teach you and how we want to support you in this whole year of the program is how we want to forever change your experience inside of academia. That is like the goal of this program. So that's why it has so many parts to it. That's why it has so much support built into it. So it's a $10K investment or $1,000 a month. And it's on rolling admissions. And so as soon as you go through the admissions process, and if you're accepted into the program and everybody agrees it's a good fit, as soon as you join the program, you get access to all of these things. The only thing that is that you might not get immediate access to are the mastermind calls because we might not have the group formed yet. But if it takes us 2 months to form the mastermind groups, you will get an extension, of your time in the program as we form those groups. But it shouldn't. We should be able to have these mastermind calls going within the next 4 weeks. We have a cohort going through, and so now we're building the next cohort, and we've switched the way the programs run so that we can do it on rolling admissions instead of having to wait for cohorts, like do it in September and then doing in January. That lag between was, we didn't want to deliver a program that you had to wait to get results. We want you to be able to get in and get to work. And when you sign up, besides getting your spot, in the retreat, we sign you up, and then the first thing that happens is you get immediate access to all of this content, and we give you an assignment to do. And once you've turned in that assignment, then you schedule your first one-on-one call, and that one-on-one call serves to kind of give you, figure out where you need to do the most work. So what part of the program do you need to jump into right away? You might not do the whole thing in order, right? We always start with the clarify part, because those first 2 lessons need to happen first. But after that, you can be entering the content in different ways. And then we support you in that content through the Mighty Networks community, through the weekly office hours, so people are doing different things at different times. It's an online, experience. And so that's the benefits. Like, one of the benefits is that you don't have to start at the beginning and work to the end. You can start at the middle, but depending on what's right for you.